Hello, hello. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of follow what Doug did last week. Um, I'm gonna call this why every minute matters. Just because you can technically use that phrase in every aspect of what we do. And what makes me successful is because that phrase usually creates a little bit of intensity with the buyer. Allows me to push them a little bit and just direct them through the whole entire process, right? So
Nobody will put notes in.
what I like to focus on at the beginning, because I've been doing this on this team since January of 22. I had my license for like 4 or 5 months before I was a part of this team at Keller Williams. And I was in the restaurant business before, so I didn't know much to do until I got on this team. And this process showed me just how to make it an actual business instead of just showing up for people and opening the door and then hopefully writing an offer. I don't know if you can hear Andrew yelling in the background, but he's the one I learned it from, right? That background noise is actually probably me, Michelle, because the whole office is loud.
Oh, I keep seeing someone's screen covering your face. That's why I thought someone wasn't muted because you keep disappearing.
Got it. You can pin me if you would like to, but I'll try and continue to mute people.
Thank you.
When I first got on the team, we were about 11 or 12 people. So it was a little more intimate than what we have now. We do a lot of things over Zoom, so it's not as hands-on as what I was able to learn here. So Andrew was still selling at the point when I just got on the team. So I was able to utilize and then ask him if I can tag along on a weekend of him doing his showings. So I got to learn hands-on what he does and the process that he actually teaches. I got to see him do it with actual clients. So it was actually really cool. And I almost mimic and model every one of my showings from when I went out with him that first weekend, because it taught me a whole lot just how to like solidify my process. During all the showings that we had, I think we showed 5 homes. During the middle of that, we bam-fammed for a following day, but Andrew was passing me the lead. So he bam-fammed for when I was available because I still worked at the restaurant at that time. And then we just flowed from there. It was a pretty competitive market in 22. So when we saw the 5 homes, each one of those homes had probably 50 to 75 offers on some of them. So it was competitive. So we wrote for that client 3 offers on the 5 homes. And Andrew looked at me and said, "Have you written offers before?" I said, "Well, one time, but not really." So we literally went to Starbucks and wrote 3 offers for that client that evening. So I always like to do practice offers when I'm meeting new clients, because a major thing that I've noticed with first-time home buyers or home buyers is that they're very nervous to commit to something. So when we do our process from grading the home from 1 to 10, I usually say anything above a 7 or at a 7 or above is something that you would consider living in or writing an offer on. And so when I tell them that and we grade the homes, 99% of the time, they're going to claim that home to be a 6, even if they really love it, because they're afraid to commit to writing the offer. And so I kind of like position and pivot that. And I say, "I'm really glad that you said it was a 6, because I know you're afraid to commit to writing an offer." And what I like to do with first-time home buyers is I like to do practice offers, because 1, it gets you to write an offer with that client. 2, if you actually haven't written a lot of offers, it allows you to practice. And when I was first showing clients, I've only written like 10 or 15 of those offers. So it allowed me to go through, practice and do it so I could solidify it. But then ultimately, it would allow the client to, even if they didn't like that home, right? When we did find a home that they liked, they weren't afraid to write that offer or move forward or sign that offer. And they didn't have thousands of questions when we had a time frame of what we needed to actually get that offer in and accepted. So if you're struggling with writing offers for clients, we're trying to get them over to how do I, sorry, I'm gonna let a couple people in. If you're struggling to figure out how to push somebody to write an offer, I would suggest you just throw it out there and write practice offers. So even though you don't like this home, I think we should practice writing an offer on this. So you guys can read through every single line of it. When you have questions, write them down. And then after you're done, those questions, you can call me, we can go over it. Because I never want you to actually miss an opportunity when we actually fall in love with something, because we have all these questions and then we miss out on the time frame because someone else already has gone through this process. They were comfortable with the offer and they allowed their agent to write it and move forward, and they got it accepted 15 minutes before we could even put our offer in because we were a little bit hesitant. So practice offers was one of the major things for me to be able to work on the cadence of what we have and what we do. Well, another one. During our tour process, basically is what I call it, because I used to be very friendly with these clients, which I still am, but it's a different mentality, right? So my friendliness was never pressuring them, never pressuring them to commit to writing an offer, because I didn't know how to explain that to them or ask them for that business, because I myself was scared to ask somebody that business. So during the tour, just to learn the process of what we were doing, I would always follow what Andrew taught me, right? And during our tour, we would point out different points of inspections where I would think that those clients would be a little bit nervous when we get our inspection report back or when we do our inspection. So that way it wasn't the first time they were seeing those problems when they show up in an inspection report in all red at the beginning in all caps. If your sink was loose, that it said, we recommend a licensed plumber to come check this out and fix this problem, when you could put a little bit of caulk on there for $10 from Home Depot or something like that. There's another process that I would always like to try and do. Another thing that makes me successful in this is what we put in our offer email. So when I send out the offer for signatures, before it even is returned back to me, I start working on that offer email so that within a couple minutes, I mean, unless they sign it instantaneously, within a couple minutes of my client signing that offer and I'm getting it back, downloading it, my offer email is already ready to go. So if it's a couple hours later, as soon as I get that back, I don't start working on the email and trying to figure out what I want to do or want to send to them. And then 2 hours later, after I get it back, then I send it again. It's just all ready to go. I get the offer, signatures, download it, put it in the draft that I already have, and click send. So within 2 to 5 minutes of us getting that offer back, it's already sent to the listing agent. Sorry, I'm getting a couple phone calls. I apologize. But that's kind of what I do and a little bit of the process of what I learned here. So I'm definitely going to open it up for questions, because that's all the spiel I'm going to have for us.
So my question, are you ready? Okay, so go ahead.
Yep.
So if you meet with the client and they're just going to see that one home, go for say you do plan a next meeting with a client, but they kind of brush you off and say, I'll call you when I get ready. How would you, I don't know, try to get that client back?
How would you get the client back? So
Yes.
that shows too. Every single client's different, right? So I'm a people
Yes.
person. I was in the restaurant business before, so I was a bartender. I can read drunk people, I can read sober people, you can read people's expressions. It comes down to reading that person and what they actually want. So then it goes back to what we teach is what is their actual why. And a lot of the time, agents don't like to regurgitate what their why is because it makes it a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation to them. But you're
Okay.
just there repeating the reason that they're actually trying to do this, and
Okay.
that you are not just a pushy salesman. You are actually there guiding them to the finish line. So it takes a little while to get somebody who is uncomfortable, right? Or only
Okay.
wanted to see that one home. Yeah, they might have only wanted to see or go out and see that one home. They might have been looking online for the last 6, 7, 8 months.
Okay.
Finally said, "Oh, I like that house."
Do whatever the fuck you want. Y'all were spamming I won.
Sorry. They might have been looking online for about 8 months. Finally
Yes.
saw something that they're like, "Oh, maybe this is something I want to go see to maybe start the process." And when they get there, they were completely underwhelmed. And they go, never mind. That was just an all bad situation. So how do you get the client back? Honestly, 99% of the time, you're not going to get them back that next week.
Okay.
It's going to happen a month and a half later. It's going to happen maybe 2 months later if you continue to follow up with them and just
Okay.
reach out to them, right? And you have to reach out to them without
Right. Being too pushy. Because I know that they were really serious though, because he's like, my wife's looking in this other area, and he was looking at the crime statistics. So I know that he was really, really serious, but maybe I didn't ask the why in the beginning of the meeting. So now I'm kind of like, oh, do I call and get the why, or do I just keep reaching out?
I would just keep sending them different properties and then just keep
Okay.
asking them basically unsolicited questions, right? Because
Okay.
everybody thinks you're a salesman. Everybody thinks that you're only there for the dollar. But if you
Correct.
actually show them a little bit of the work in the background of, hey, check out this, I was thinking about you. How do
Okay.
you like this house? Hey,
Okay.
check this one out. Does this meet your needs? Hey, have your needs changed? It's the continuous reach out to them without being angry that they don't reply to you.
No, I
Because
love that approach. I thank you.
yeah, it's not that it's actually you, it's that they are uncomfortable, and excuse my language, but they don't even fucking know you, right? It's uncomfortable for anybody to just go meet somebody new and then forever be loyal to that person. Most people do it every day. How often do you get like a sales call that you get angry about? Because anytime a sales call calls me, I've been on the do not call list since 2006. And I'll tell you that wholeheartedly because I hate sales calls because none of their approach is like human.
Genuine, authentic.
And
Yes, it's just the operating.
if you realize that that's how people see you, and it's not just because of you, but because of the business that we're in, and you try and show them something differently, you'll have a lot more success, but it will take probably 10, 15, 25 different touches, and they might not reply to 18 of them, but one of them, they'll go, oh, this is someone who has been reaching out to me. I do like this home, and now I feel comfortable asking them a question about it. And then you basically start over and hold their hand from there because they will have more questions. But I would say just continue to reach out with a servant's heart, if you would.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mom.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Hey Dom, how's it going?
Good. All I see is a number here.
Yep, this is me, Mike, brother. How you doing?
You said Mike?
Yeah, Michael, I helped you with that open house on Janine.
Oh, yes. Hey, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Congratulations on your son that's going to be coming in December, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So my question is, when when you're walking up to the client for the first time, what are like the three things you want to get across within like the first minute of meeting them? Like, is there certain ways you approach them, certain words you want to use? How is your presentation, or how does it differ from when you first started to what you do now that's working for you?
Yeah. So I always approach somebody trying to listen to them, because I never actually try and sell the person the home that they call in on, or the home that we are going to go see. I am there to gather as much information as possible. And then there's different cues, different words that they'll say, their body language and all that, that will indicate if they do like it, they want to move forward, things like that, that you pick up on if you're listening. So that first meet is literally meeting the person and trying to establish a relationship there. I
Right.
do always have a buyer's packet, so it shows what our team is and what we have and what is behind us. I can tell you that. But to make it flow in a natural conversation, it all depends on what happens in that home and where the conversation is leading, and to actually just figuring out what their why is. But what was the second half of your question, if you could?
Oh, so the second half of my question, that was great, by the way. I appreciate it. The second half of the question is, so if we're listening, we establish our rapport with them. We let them know, like, hey, I did come out here to show you the home, but my intention isn't to shove this home down your throat. I get that perspective. But at which point do you go for that bam fam? And what do you say, or what is your go-tos when you ask for that bam fam that you feel that makes it hard for them to be like, we're all right. This is the only home we wanted to see.
So during the process, I always, if it's like I'm showing somebody on a Monday at 3:00, right? So I always kind of break the ice with the conversation. And Jonathan, I see your hand raised, so I'll get to you in a second. I always try and break the ice with, hey, I know we're out here Monday, 2:00. Is this usually the best time for you to go see properties? Or is this just a one-off that you have off during the day? What is your schedule like? So that way I've listened to you. I understand a little bit more of what you want. Now I'm going to go try and actually find it. I'm going to ask you more questions, because the more I understand of what you want, the more I can help you. When's the best time for when I do find those properties for us to go see it? Is it like today? Are we scheduling on Mondays? Are you going to be the one I show on Mondays, or is it sporadic? What is your schedule like? That's usually how I start that conversation or get that bam fam. And then know your schedule, right? Obviously, we get leads and leads and leads and leads and leads and leads and leads. So everything's random. You never actually, I mean, unless you can plan it with all of your different bam fams, just know a little bit about your schedule so you can kind of mold them a little bit to your schedule, but basically based off of theirs, so you can just organize your week.
Got it. That's gold. I appreciate that, Dom. Yeah, sure did. Sure did.
And Jonathan, I saw your hand raised. If you want to ask your question.
Yeah, it's this is a little bit, maybe a little bit off topic, but it's more for like a negotiations question. When you're negotiating with like listing agents, how do you typically go about that? How do you know? I mean, I've done my comps and everything, right? But what I just want to hear from somebody that's, a top producer, like how do you fill out a listing agent?
I mean, so you ask all the important questions to the listing agent, right? But one of the things I learned from this team, and it can even go back to what you do when you receive a home inspection, when you're talking to them about your client, right? Don't be the martyr. don't be the person that is trying to get the $2,000 off for your client or negotiate every little tiny thing. Show them all the information on this home. Even if it's comps, show them your agent one line of a mile from that property that they want to write an offer on. Show them everything that's been sold, that's on the market, how long it's been on the market, right? So you give them as much information as possible, and then you ask them, where do you feel comfortable? Obviously, they're going to give you a number. After, maybe if it's a lower number, you might have to coach them a little bit on there and write a few offers or lose a few offers for them to fully understand and trust you. But how do you negotiate with a listing agent? I just ask them a bunch of
I
questions.
think sorry to interrupt. I think you kind of answered my question, because I feel like with this specific situation, we're just kind of splitting hairs on the like, is it this or is it that sort of thing? Like it's between 10 grand. So I'm like, to me, what does it make a difference? But my buyer, like they may not want to, you know what I'm saying? They may not want to do that. So I want to make sure and get them the house, which I think is our ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, so specific situation like that. If it's splitting hairs and 10 grand, do you know actually what 10 grand is over the life of the loan?
Or pennies,
It's
dollars.
$37 a month, maybe. So
Okay.
then you go back to your buyer and say, is this house not worth 37 extra dollars a month for you to start building equity, getting your family in here? Is this not what you want?
Oh, that's good.
$37 is very minimal to you over the life of this loan. Yes, you'll pay interest on it and different things like that, but it's $37 a month. That is the difference between your family being in this home or the 7 other offers that we're competing with. Now that $10,000 is a major difference to the sellers because they're going to see it in their return. But it doesn't cost you really anything to actually start building equity in this home. So it is playing leverage with your clients, but it's just leverage with information. And never ever feel bad of giving that information to, you have to be confident in the information that you're giving, because every agent always says, we are the professional. Well, your opinion doesn't matter in professionalism. It is the facts that you give, and then you let them decide, and then you help them either with the decision, and you can never get mad at that client for the decision that they make. They're just more than likely,
Right.
if they make a different decision to something that you don't like, well, look back and say, okay, what could I have done differently in the last few weeks? Or what could I have shown them to be able to help them make the decision better in the future?
I got it. No, that's perfect. I like that. $37. That's great. Thank you.
And it's an average, it's a rough. And then you can always show them, I can show you how to get that $10,000 back, right? There's an amortization schedule for your loan. Here's a link that I'm going to send you. If you spend an extra $100 a month, you'll be able to save over the life of your loan. You could probably save 2 years. So you can pay off this loan in 28 years, and you can save $70,000 in equity. So I've actually saved you $60,000 in the life of your loan, even though you paid $10,000 extra here. There's so many different ways you can show information for them to realize it in a different way besides, oh, this is costing me more money. You're telling me this is the only way to get the house. You're not doing your job enough for me. I don't think you're fighting for me. So.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Do you have that link anywhere,
Yeah,
or we have that?
I can post some of these things on Slack as well.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Just like on this, let's just say on the last handful of times that you went out to meet people, I don't know, top of your head, but if not, then that's fine too. But what would you say the 3 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever questions that you for sure asked everybody those particular questions, if it's okay.
You kind of went in and out the last part. What was the what? Sorry.
Yeah. So, what was the specific reasons why you made sure that you asked every single, those 1, 2, or 4 questions, and why, if you don't mind?
Specific questions I ask new clients when I meet them. One is, why are we out here right now? Like, it's a simple ice-breaking question. Why did you choose this house to come see? Was this the only house you've seen? Or is this the first house you've seen? Or have you seen a few others? Right? So I kind of
Right.
make it about why they are out there to this particular house. And then
Mhm.
say, like, you could probably say, I think I asked everybody what their timeline is, so that I know in the back of my head where we need to start this process, right? So after, why did they come out here? Is this the first house they've seen in person, or have they seen them online? What's happening in their situation, so I can get a feel for it. What's their timeline? I'm not ready for anything for 6 months. Okay, well, most people don't know it takes between 3 and 4 months for someone to actually make a decision. So you're right on that time frame, and they are more than likely just testing your salesman sliminess, right? Oh, I'm not ready for 6 months. Okay, I'm not going to waste any time for you. You're going to waste my time for 6 months. I don't have that. Well, this person's probably going to, with the right information, make the right decision for them within a month and a half to 45 days. So usually ask those questions pertaining there. And I'll probably have to think of the third one in a minute. It'll come to me of what I ask every single time, because it's a little different, because I go based off of conversations that I have with the particular client, because every single client is different. Every situation is different. So if I don't pick up on a few things, then I didn't do what I'm supposed to do to actually help that person. So
Right. Okay.
it's
Great.
it's
Those
very,
are good.
very
Those are
different.
2 great answers. Those are two great questions, 2 great answers. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I
Appreciate
saw
it.
somebody else unmute. Yeah, absolutely. Reether, I think I saw you unmute. Were you going to ask something?
Yes, but you answered it.
I had another question for you.
Yeah.
So sometimes we get these last minute connections where we have like maybe an hour, 2 hours to prepare. And there may or may not be a bunch of properties available to show them, especially in their price range and specifics that they're looking for. Can I ask, what you do to handle that? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. So everything's dynamic, right? If somebody calls on Zillow, we get to our ICA, hey, can you meet this person in an hour? It's going to take me 45 minutes to get there. Yeah, I can do that. Well, hopefully you have some sort of preparation, and trust me, this is very
all the time.
different. Yeah. And this is, I'll tell you 100%. And I think there's a couple people on here as well who've been a part of this team since before we had the ICA team. We have it pretty easy right now because we don't have to take those incoming calls. So you don't have to take 37 incoming calls when you're out showing other clients and then trying to maneuver your schedule and show all these people in a time frame where you already have 4 appointments booked. So right now, having the freedom of not taking that inbound call, it's a lot easier for you to actually be prepared. You can already have your buyers, some of your buyers packets set up. We're kind of in a digital world now, so I'm assuming all of you don't have a printer.
I'm
in your
not
pocket.
complaining.
No, absolutely. Not at all. But
What
how do you
what
find other
I
homes,
guess
right?
is like, yeah, that's about it. Like as far as everything digital and like I could send them the buyer packets in a PDF in a text. I can send them all the places we're gonna go see like really quickly through like the MLS app. If I don't use Lofty or something like that. But it's just, for instance, like listing agents, 24 hours to show, owner occupied tenants and, the 30,000 foot views getting closer to 30,000 feet. You know what I mean?
No,
And they don't want to
understandable.
be in another city and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to pick your brain, I guess.
Yeah. So your main objective is to meet that person, right? So even if you
Correct.
can't see that home, okay, well, they're only looking at $600,000 homes, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Well, there's a vacant home that's 2 bed, 2 bath down the street. Go there, pull out your computer, spend 15, 20 minutes with them, asking them those questions, and then right in front of them, show them what's on the market and see what else you can see. Spend the time with them to understand what they're doing. If they don't want to go see a few other places, okay, well, more than likely there might be some new build homes that you can just walk into and see 4 or 5 different models. And during that time, you can do your buyer's presentation or interview while you're showing them a couple new builds. You can ask them those questions to learn more about them, and then you can possibly bam fam them after. But the main objective is to meet that client and get information from them as much as you possibly can. So what if they don't want to see anything else? Okay, ask them, what is it about this home that is the only home that you wanted to see? Are we writing an offer on this one, or what's going on? I'm pretty positive this is, if you've been searching online, this isn't the only home that you've seen, right? So I'm not here to be pushy. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to ask questions to get the information from you so that I can actually help you. If you don't want my help, all right, that's fine. I was here to open a door from you. That sounds great. But
Gotcha.
it really all depends on how you can connect with that
Situation.
person when you meet them.
Okay.
But there's always vacant homes around, even if it's not something that they actually want to go see. It's a place that you can show them, you can get into, and then we can start working on what you want to see. Let's spend a couple minutes in the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I've done it with a few clients, but it's true. Not every single one is going to show up to that vacant home, especially if they don't like it.
And you win some, you lose some. We get 900 leads a
Right.
month.
Exactly.
And then
Awesome.
do your footprint on that lead because they just didn't feel comfortable going to that place with you. It's bottom line is what it is. They didn't feel comfortable enough to go, yeah, you know what? I'll meet you over there.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Perfect, man. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any questions for me? All right. That sounds good to me.
Hey Dom, I have one question.
Yeah.
All right, so you have experience. You're doing great. You're one of the top producers. Now, what would be your primary advice, your number one thing to tell any up and coming real estate agent that wants to reach the pinnacles that you have reached?
You're never wasting your time. And if you think you're wasting your time, your attitude's wrong. Anything you could possibly do, you're right. Everybody joins real estate because they want to be an independent contractor. They don't want to work the 9 to 5. They don't want to clock in, clock out, right? So that means you have to take it upon yourself to utilize every single minute that you have. In our business that we service online leads, a lot of the time people don't show up. It depends on your attitude of what you are going to do in that situation. You can, if you're brand new, you can learn from that, right? You can
Right.
get as much information on that property as possible, and then go back to that client and say, hey, sorry we didn't meet you there. Is there anything else I can do to help you right now? Like, you're never, like, I still absolutely learn things every day. And the first couple of years of this business, being able to sell what I did, it was probably some of the most stressful times in my life, because I didn't know what I didn't know to get through or to the finish line. So I was constantly learning, which I still am, but then being able to apply it and go, oh, I screwed that up royally. I could have had 2 more sales under my belt over here. But it's just constantly learning and doing. Like, I think I wrote myself. So I used my email. I just went through random properties on the MLS. I think I wrote to myself probably 150 different offers, just so I could understand what the client was seeing on the backside. I would send myself and set myself up on different property alerts just so I can see what they were seeing and what they were getting. So then I could utilize that to my advantage, right? And I could understand what they are getting from me. So I could either hone it in, make it better, or trash that. So just know you're constantly trying to figure something out. And if you want to be your own business owner, right, as an independent contractor, you're never wasting your time. It's going to get frustrating because, I mean, since we were on this, we started Zillow February of 23 or 22. It was 22. And I wasn't allowed to take live Zillow leads until I sold 3 escrows, or closed 3 escrows. And it was just learning what is a mistake here, shadowing people, and just continuing to repeat. I took probably 35 different classes at the board because I wanted to understand things, and you have to pay for some of those classes. I would go follow different agents, and I would pick up every possible lead I could, even if it was a $10,000, $15,000 lead, because those clients are the ones that are going to ask you the questions that you don't know. So that way you can continue to learn and go back to them, hopefully with some answers, if you found those answers in time. But just keep grinding. It's a grind. You'll start stacking your information, so that way you then can actually perform in what this is.
Great. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anybody else?
Do you use the Lofty or the MLS to set up searches for people?
I use both. I use homes.com. I send people Zillow stuff. I send people things from realtor.com. I send people from Redfin. Anything that each website's different, right? So I have almost everybody set up on property alerts through Lofty, because then every single time they open it, I can see that they open it. I get a notification. So then I could possibly do something with that. If they came in through Zillow and they like that connection, I start sending them just Zillow properties. But honestly, I send them everywhere. Anything I can, I send it.
Really? Okay, great.
Lofty's massive. We had Real Geeks when we first started, and we switched over to Chime, which was what it was, and just the backside of Chime to be able to utilize the different things in the CRM. There's so much stuff that I still don't even know with Chime that is available for us that we can send to our clients. So it's good to use that because that's geared to back to you. It's your subdomain, it has your name on it, it's branded to you, and then you can see a whole lot more.
Got it. Great. Thanks for that.
Yep. John, I think you typed something. I have a customer that wanted to buy, however, due to some financial issues, they had to shift to a rental. I'm still assisting them looking at the long-term relationship with this customer, regardless of what I'm getting paid on these. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple times where people can't afford things. Their situation's different. Their credit's not in the right spot, but your fortune's in the follow-up, right? You might get paid $200 on a lease to get somebody in a lease, but one, you learn how to do a lease if you've never done a lease before. So if that's something you want to continue to do, you can do that. And if you continue to nurture them, you can always break a lease in California because landlords aren't allowed to charge double rent. So that means they're not allowed to charge a new person who's going to be renting that and whoever has the lease at the same time. So you can technically get out of a lease. Obviously, it takes a little bit of finesse and communication. Hey, if you sent the person you just got into a lease a few properties and they're in their good standing situation now and that they can afford or move forward with a purchase, you could possibly get them out of that lease just because you continue to nurture them. So 100%. Fortune is in the follow-up. And I know we've heard that a whole lot, but I mean, look at it. Anytime you have a client who they didn't buy that first weekend, that second weekend, the 3 months, the 30 homes that you showed them, they couldn't do that. Maybe a year from now, they came back to you because you made an impression on them or you continued doing your actual job for them. The fortune's in the follow-up because a year later, then you get a paycheck. I am going to direct you to the help tab or question mark in Lofty. They're going to be able to, you're going to watch a bunch of videos on it. So much easier that they're going to explain it than I would. I would butcher that for sure. The question was, how do you set up a property alert in Lofty? Honestly, there's 100 training videos in Lofty. There's 100+ training videos on Zillow to be able to use their CRM a little bit more useful for you. Spend an hour a week learning a different or going over a different training video and then applying it during that week. You'll be light years ahead of a lot of agents that don't take the time. But I'll direct you to those videos because they'll explain it way better than I am.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is only my second day with the team.
Welcome.
Thank you. So if you do have someone who has to continue renting, out of the 166 lenders, is there anyone who offers a rent-to-own program?
No idea. I'm not a lender, but more than likely, it depends on if the seller is willing to do that, if it's an investment property, and there's a lot of variables in that question. But that is some research that you'll have to find a lender and ask those questions for a lender. But I have not used that program, if there is that program, or have searched for that. So I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, so but that is something we can offer if so I've used Home Partners in the past, and right now they're not taking on any new clients. So I didn't know if that was an option with
yeah, I would say that's a very rare situation. So I wouldn't focus a lot on that, but if it's out there and you can find it and you can search for it, then yeah, you could possibly offer that to your clients.
Thank you.
I'm a brand new agent. I just passed my exam in April and joined the team. Welcome, Leslie. I want to know what the best advice you can give me, and also When should I start taking leads? Should I prepare more? This is what I used to struggle with. Preparing is doing. It's as simple as the more you do, the better you're going to get. You are absolutely going to make those mistakes. You're going to want to make the mistakes faster than prolonging it, because you can make a mistake in the first week that if you didn't try, you can make it in 2 years, and you're now 2 years behind, if you would. So prepare while you're doing it. You're going to learn so much in the actual situation that that's when it's going to stick with you, and that's when you're going to remember it and move forward and continue with that knowledge. So yes, prepare always, but never miss an opportunity to take something, even if you don't understand it, or do it. There's 190 people on this team that you can ask a question to, and probably 20 people are going to reply with different answers. So now you can go through those 20 different answers and figure out what works best for you or how you can approach that. So always prepare, but absolutely dive in. Drown yourself. We like to say, just keep swimming here, because joining these systems, doing all of this, taking the leads, going out and showing, bringing your buyers back, it's so dynamic, and it's very different than what a lot of real estate agents do. Just keep swimming. You'll start stacking and stacking and stacking your knowledge, and it'll be a whole lot easier. A couple things will click, and then you'll change a few things, and a couple more things will click, and it'll be a whole lot different month 1 than it is, or month 6 than it was month 1. So just keep going. Anybody else afraid to ask a question?
Hey, Dom, I have one question that that maybe they haven't thought of asking yet, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So it seems like we have a lot of new agents on here, and a lot of them are gonna have to go through, the learning curve. They're gonna have to be kind of let down. I've talked to some agents that feel like it's a roller coaster, right, to be a part of this team. And I'm a big believer that, mind frame, the way you approach things and your perspective on things can really make or break you in businesses that depend so much on your output, So my question would be, can you share a story with us, or a point in your career where you've seen that your perspective and the way you felt about this business pivoted towards being more positive about it and understanding that you can now see the finish line because you've gotten there?
Yeah, every transaction, my first year, was different. I went through 1031 exchanges. I went through REOs. I went through renters purchasing a home. I double-ended some things. I listed a couple, and it was right at the turning point of the market where interest rates started going up. So I had to learn what that meant. I didn't fully understand until my 10th escrow, and I can remember it. It was on Thorpe Trail in Beaumont. That was the first escrow where I could go, oh, I hit all of these 15 points in this escrow, to where I was able to finally walk a client through from start to finish without asking somebody else questions. So it was every single escrow for me in my first year of brand new learning points of frustration, not being prepared, being terrified that I just asked this client to spend $700,000 or got them to sign something because they believed that I am the professional, but I didn't fully know how to answer their question because I was scared. So it was every single escrow until I had the confidence to be able to walk somebody through from start to finish. And that didn't happen until my 10th escrow. And then the next escrow, something happened where I didn't understand a few things, but I was able to get through and figure those out. And then once I started learning and having the confidence in it, it was a lot easier to then start stacking a few during the month, if you would. In the restaurant business where I came from, we used to call it being in the weeds, right? So if you had 75 people at your bar top and you have your well filling up, you're 15 tickets behind, the next hour and 45 minutes, you're about to get shit on. You're in the weeds, and it all depends on your perception and what you can do to be, if you're going to make the $300, $500, $700, or if you're going to have 40 customers that are not going to enjoy their evening and go to the next bar, and you're not going to make any money. You're just going to be in the weeds, tired, and you're going to be miserable. So if you put yourself in the weeds and be able to manage those levels of what you need to do, just know the next one's going to be a little bit easier, and you can figure stuff like that out. So I would say I still have some of those turning points in this where I'm like, oh, okay, that was a light bulb. I didn't do that very well the last 6 months. Let's focus and work on that. So I think it's almost every day because this is so dynamic. But in the end, it's the people business, right? So with people, everything's always dynamic because every single person's different.
Right on. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for sharing your story. So just to sum it up, it seems like just keep at it. Even if you guys don't have the confidence or the experience, know that there's people on this team that are experts at that, or that have many years of experience that don't mind lending a hand. So even though you're going out there and you may not feel confident in yourself because the confidence level isn't there yet, just know that being part of a team and having a team around you and at your reach allows you to go out there and be the catalyst to introducing some of these clients to people they might not ever meet. For example, like the lending officers we work with, people on our team. I mean, great offer writers like Kathy Rayner. So yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Thank you for clearing that up, and just kind of wanted to elaborate on what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, to snowball on that, I could tell you that Patrick on our team, Lauren, Stephanie, Rachel, all of these people that are on our team had hundreds of phone calls from me. And every single time I called, they were probably so annoyed, but love them. I didn't care. They had the answers that I needed and that I wanted. So obviously I took care of them in any way that I possibly could on the backside of it, because I was taking their time away from their business. But
Right on.
if you want something, go get it. Don't be scared of it. This is an absolute whirlwind on this team of everything that we have to do, every metric that we have to hit. It's a lot. It is absolutely a lot. But if you want it at a certain point, it clicks, then it snowball effects. And then it's easy from there on out. It's just perfecting it. But utilize the people on your team. Ask the stupid question. If somebody makes fun of you for a stupid question, it's going to happen, right? But at least you get the answer to it, and then you have more information for the future. And then there's so many different people that are going to give you so many different answers. And instead of just trying to figure some things out on your own and maybe not getting the right answer, you have 15, 20 people that you can lean on, and you can utilize that. So this team is massive. Yes, we're ramping up. So there's a lot more people as referral agents coming onto this team that nobody really knows anybody. Come meet us, right? Ask those people. We're only as good as the person next to us. So absolutely lean on everybody on this team. That's the only way we're going to get better. And that's the only way you're going to get better for the future in your own business.
Right on.
Anybody else want to ask anything? The floor is yours. That's cool, John. It's too bad you're a Dodger fan. All right. If that is it, I'm out of here. I got stuff to do.
All right, Dom. Thank you. Peace out.
Thank you all. If you have any questions,
Thanks for showing up.
yeah, search me on Slack. Send me a DM. My phone number is on there. I'll get back to you. I'll answer your questions. Call me. Go for it.
Awesome.
All right.